Spoken Label. Spoken Label.
Hi guys, it's Andy again, live from Spoken Label. Back on the phone again tonight, and I've got another poet on the phone of all things. This one's from my old hometown in Chiltern, or Whalley Range actually, which is the next part down from there. Now, what I like about Spoken Label is I occasionally get referrals come through from people, and this young lady, I haven't actually met her, but a good friend of mine that I cover and speak easy with in Stretford recommended her recently to me, and I'll make a blush in a moment when I say this, but he met her at an open mic night that a friend of his ran in Chiltern at Lloyd's recently. He described her as the best thing on that night. Now, Alice, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody? Tell them who you are, and we'll start from there.
Yeah, sure. By the way, that's such a nice compliment. I felt really
like I said,
privileged to have that compliment.
I know, it's that's what I mean. He came on to it the day after Steve's and said, Andy, do a session with Alice. She's superb. I thought, here we are.
Yeah, so my name's Alice, and I am from Whalley Range. I've lived here for a couple of years now. So I started writing at the age of maybe 7 or 8. I started writing like short stories, poems, plays, basically anything that I could write, really.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. So, and did you find that as you got a bit older, did you carry on your writing, or have you come back to it later on as an adult, really?
Yeah. So I mean, I continued with it. So I did an undergrad degree in creative writing.
Oh, fantastic! Where was that at?
In Hull. So,
oh, nice.
Like the home of Philip Larkin. So, yeah, I did that and I really enjoyed it a lot. But then after I finished uni, I needed to kind of just find a job, really. So I just continued to write, on the side as my hobby, really.
Yeah, of course, yeah. That's what I do, to be honest with you, myself, because I did my degree in Bolton some years ago, and it's been a hobby for me ever since. But as I said, it always just leads in different directions all the time. So.
Yeah.
Which is the best way, so, good stuff. Now, obviously, like I said before, I know we were talking off mic, and a lot of your work, it covers a lot of social issues, doesn't it, really? Now,
yeah, that's right.
Tell us a bit more about that, then, and how has it actually influenced your writing?
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about kind of talking about, like, mental health, equality for women, for racial equality, gender equality, and class equality as well. So I'm a black working class woman. So, and I'm also training to be a counsellor, so I'm really passionate about mental health.
Oh, good
so
stuff.
They're all issues that I really want to just kind of, I want to get rid of the taboo. I want to get rid of the stigma that's attached to those things, and I want to educate people and encourage people and empower people. And I feel like I can do that best, not through arguing or debating, but through writing. I feel like it can really reach people. And I've noticed it reaches not just poets, but people who don't write either. It speaks to them as well. So for me, it's been a great way to get across my views.
Oh, good stuff. No, good stuff, certainly so. Now, as a writer then, have you had encountered any writers that have really inspired you so far?
I'm just trying to think. I definitely have. So George the Poet, have you heard of him?
Yes, I have heard of George the Poet. Yeah, his name's come up a few times now. Yes, I have heard of him, yes.
I find him really inspiring because he talks about real issues that affect our society. And Sully Breaks, he's the same. He's another black spoken word artist who, again, talks about, issues in the society which we live in. So that's the kind of poetry that I'm really inspired by.
No, of course I have. Like I'm always a firm believer there's lots of different styles of poetry and different ways you can approach it. And I just like personally to try and catch as much as I can read and listen and hear as much as I can. So I agree with you completely. I get it. What may inspire one person doesn't always inspire another, but I respect people for that, definitely. So now I know you say you've been performing poetry now for about 4 years, haven't you, so far?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what made you want to go into actually performing it?
Well, I started going to to watch other people. I didn't realise that was a thing. I didn't know that people perform poetry.
Oh, yeah.
So when I first started going to them with my friends, I was like, oh, maybe one day I'll do that. But to me, it seemed so far away in my head. I was like, oh, there's no way. Like, it takes so much guts to go up there. But I kind of challenged myself, and I was like, right, next time it's going to be you up there. So then I just started, emailing around or speaking to the host to get myself up. So yeah.
Oh, good stuff. And what was the first night you ever read at?
Say that again.
What was the first night you ever read at or performed at?
It was called Raw. It was at the Contact Theatre.
Oh yeah. I know.
It was quite a chilled night. Yeah, and it was like it's not like a slam. It's just a night where people can come and share, for the first time. So that was the first time I ever shared.
Brilliant. Obviously, I have to ask this, of course. I remember my first time. I was going on stage and physically, I'm really, really nervous. And Amanda, my partner, she's a writer and performer as well. And Amanda's first time, I always remember this. She went on stage and I remember telling me that her legs were absolutely shaking afterwards. Did you have the sort of first time nerves yourself? Did when you went on stage?
Oh, definitely. I was terrified. And that's never gone away. I think every single time I ever perform, I always feel sick with nerves before I go on stage. But then once I get on stage, it kind of goes away. The first time I ever performed, I was scared, I was shaking, but it also fills me with adrenaline. Like I was still exhilarated after I've done it.
Yeah, of course, completely, yeah, completely. Have you found that has your writing changed much since you started performing quite regularly?
Yes, definitely. I think I've put a lot more into it. So because I know that I'm writing now for an audience, I'll go back over it, I'll edit it, and I think I'm just a lot more conscious about what I'm writing because I'm writing to share it. Yeah, definitely. I think as well, when you do the poets and you see their writing, you become inspired by it. And so I think you just, even you're not copying, but you do kind of, take and it does change your writing a little bit because you're inspired by other people as well and like their style.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know when I first started performing years ago, your outlook changes. I think you change as a person if you really get into it as well, that's for sure. And that one, I agree with you completely. And I know you said before off mic that you've actually performed in London, haven't you, before now as well? Now,
yeah, that's right.
How did that compare to Manchester?
It was I think quite similar because I feel like people that go to poetry events, they're all kind of in, that type of, what's the word, like, I don't know what the word is, but like, scene. So they're all kind of, artists, so they're all kind of used to poets. So I felt like it was quite similar. It was a really welcoming crowd, it was really nice. So I performed twice in London. I won a competition to open up a show.
Oh, well done.
I performed at a theatre, and then I've also a part of a collective called Rise Collective.
Oh, yes.
And they basically have a bunch of artists from around the UK, and we're all about kind of getting our voices heard, and we talk about different social issues. So I've also performed to them as well. But I found it quite similar. I think maybe Manchester and London had quite similar vibes. Everyone was really welcoming, and it wasn't too scary.
Oh, that's good. I think you're right because I've performed in London a few times actually myself, and I think a lot of it is like it's different. They write differently than different towns do, and what obviously the people who talk about is slightly different issues. But there is a common language in poetry for me, and I think you probably found that yourself, didn't you, when you were performing down in London, certainly. So, no, excellent stuff. Now I was going to ask you tell us a bit more about this collective then, because I didn't know about this collective you were in. So, tell us a bit more about the collective then. How did you join this collective, and what are their aims, etc.? What do they do?
Yeah, so it's called Rise Collective, and their aim is basically about empowering and amplifying your voice. Mm. So it takes young people from different parts of the UK, and it's a chance to come together. Sometimes we'll have meetings about what we want to see improved or what we want to change about our society.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll put on a night in London. We're going to be putting one in Manchester actually. So if there are any poets that are interested in performing, definitely let me know because we can get you a slot and you can be a part of that. And then we also shot a video in London, and it was all about kind of young people speaking out. So if you are interested and you do want to be a part of it, please, we're on Instagram as the Rise Collective, and Marla, she's the founder of it. So she used to work with my sister, so she reached out to me and told me about it, and I joined up. But we are going to be setting up a group in Manchester for poets to come along and to kind of talk about issues that they want to change, and then we'll be writing about them. If anybody is interested, then that is an opportunity that will be happening in the new year.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Good luck with definitely that one. So, what sort of plans do you have for your writing and performing next year? Do you have that? Oh, we're recording. People might guess we're actually recording in 2019, but it'll get released in January 2020. So, what sort of plans do you have for next year, writing wise?
Well, I'll be doing some poetry workshops. So next year I'll be doing working with a charity called Being There, and I'll be doing writing workshops every Tuesday. This is just for
Brilliant.
people
Good luck.
who. Pardon?
So brilliant. Good luck.
Oh,
So my voice is croaky today. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. So these are people who have either been affected by long-term illness or know someone who's been affected by long-term illness. It's a way just to have a space just to use their voice and, be creative and have a space away from all the things that they're dealing with. So we're running that.
Where's that going to run at then, if people are interested?
So it's going to be in Withington. I don't have a location yet, but they have to be part of the charity Being There, but they can sign up on the website if they are interested. I'll direct
of course. No, good stuff. Like I said, it's I love doing workshops to do myself. So not done it for a while, but certainly are good fun. So have you been doing many workshops before then? Have you, or is this something quite new to you?
Yeah, I've done workshops before. So I used to work. I used to do some work in Liverpool, and used to do workshops in local youth centres.
Oh yeah. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
So yeah, we'll just kind of pick a theme and it's just about kind of. I think as well, poetry's got a bit of a stigma attached to it, especially for young people like, it's boring, or I've got to do it in school, but actually, poetry's whatever you make it. And
completely.
That's what my aim is, yeah.
No, good luck, definitely. Yeah. I think you're right, the stigma, I think, has started to change. Because certainly when I was at school, I'm older than you by a little bit, it was like, all we had to suffer was really bad poetry from the 1800s. And it's very, I'm sure you understand me yourself, it's very, very hard, it's much harder to get that to relate to your life, and for younger people it's impossible, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's irrelevant, isn't it, to them?
Yeah.
So,
basically, yeah, it's trying to find a way to get it to relate to them, and that's why I think the barriers are changing a lot with that nowadays, and I think it's going to be changing more in the next 10 years as well. But no, I can good luck with it, definitely. I can see where you get to that with that. No, good luck with it, definitely. So, is there anything else you've got planned for next year, or this year as it's going out, or?
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of pushing myself to make sure that I perform at least monthly. There's so many things on in Manchester. Always, looking to perform. So I think just pushing myself to, sign up for something every month, because I think it's the only way you're going to get better and better. And as well, it's a great way to network. You always meet someone at a poetry event. Oh, God,
yeah, completely, yeah. I know. I tend to normally do a couple of months normally we do. So we tend to do, say, 3 or 4 a month. And you're always meeting new people all the time, and that's what's really good about it, definitely. What's been your favourite nights that you've performed on so far, then?
That's a good question. I think... just having a think. So I performed at 3 Minute Theatre.
Oh, yeah.
They used to have London monthly, and I performed there twice now. I think that was my favourite, because it's quite small, it's quite intimate.
Yeah.
It's really friendly. So I think that was my favourite place to perform.
No, definitely. I know what you mean. It's a shame actually that venue's out. I think it's shut actually now, that venue, sadly. That's why I know it was a lovely venue. The couple that ran it were a lovely couple, so it's a shame. Yeah, I agree. But there's so many. What I'm finding a lot in Manchester at the moment is one night's finishing and another 2 or 3 are cropping up all the time.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to somebody about this recently, and there's somewhere in the vicinity, would you believe, of about 30 different nights you can go to in the Greater Manchester area.
Oh wow, there's loads.
Yeah, run monthly. There's so many you can go to. What I'm saying that's how I keep saying to myself, if I wanted to do every single one of them, I'd have no energy left and no time for writing. So that's why. But yeah, it does. There's so much going on. And I think then you can go to the outskirts more, because Manda, my partner's from Bradford, and we did our first reading in Bradford back in August, and she would give her a chance to read in her hometown. And I was chatting alone there to what people were telling me. There's nights going up and down the northwest of England now. There's loads in Leeds, Bradford, Huddersfield, Liverpool, you name it, basically. So it's definitely so many options going around, and so much like podcasts, magazines, all kinds of things. No, agree. Good luck, but definitely so. Now, if people want to find out more about you, Alice, where are they best going?
So you can go on my Instagram page, which is called Alice Grace Poetry, or on Facebook as well, it's the same name, Alice Grace Poetry.
Brilliant. That's fine. Now, Alice, of course, you're going to read some poems out for us in a minute for us as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right, what we'll then do is, as we always do in this telephone interview, we'll take a quick break and we'll give me and you time to get ourselves ready, and I'll speak to you in like 5 minutes and I can check this call saved properly. So is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
see you in 5 minutes then, okay? Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Spoken Label.
Hi guys, it's Andy N, live from Spoken Label. Got Alice on the other side of the phone with me now, and she's going to read out a few of her poems. Over to you, Alice.
This first one's called Unleashed Voices. When I see a black woman with an afro, I rejoice. It's almost as if her afro is her voice, reclaiming back her identity which was long lost in a world of white beauty. Let me rephrase that to just beauty. Our view of beauty has been tainted. We have been acquainted with the ideology that long hair is desirable and light skin is admirable. An afro is unhireable, and so we've learned it's the only beauty that is reliable. In a world where whitewashing has been fed into our subconscious from the day of our birth, used to control and manipulate until we truly forget our self-worth. It's as if our identities are under attack, to be stripped, searched, and restricted, to portray a negative people that fail to be uplifted. Every day we are reminded of our ancestors' history, the cruelty suffered, the pain inflicted to cause our people misery. The young black female generation are led to believe that they do not have the skin fit for a Disney princess, that they are less, and royalty does not extend its whitewashed arms to us. Society teaches that black men should be feared and a part of the problem, when in reality prejudice robs them of what they were before the distraction of fear was installed. Called away to make a choice, where our voices are heard and our faces are seen and our minds are at work, to consciously destroy the chains bound tight that enslave our minds of free thinking. And our voices are free speaking and our faces no longer stained of the pain of our grieving. I anticipate a world where prejudice will no longer be an entity, racism will no longer see, and our children's children will be finally free.
Fantastic. Really excellent stuff, Alice. Excellent indeed. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for that. Okay, do you want to go straight into your second piece, please?
Yeah, sure. So this one is a superhero. My mother is my superhero. Daredevil might be to navigate without sighting. And Black Panther may have saved Wakanda through the fighting, and DC have got Black Jesus on the streets, aka Black Lightning. But my mother, well, I have never met anyone with the lightning of a superhero but she. Now, I'm not talking about red lycra leggings and a cape down to her knees, but she made family everywhere on the streets and overseas. She wore a smile like the sickest cape you've ever seen. Her black curly hair framed her face and kissed her shoulders like the headdressing of a queen. And wherever she went, a respect followed her that cannot be commanded. She gave out love and respect, and so back to that was handed, and she overflowed with a depth of understanding I'm only starting to grasp. And she gave me the fullest of answers whenever I asked. She inhaled life and exhaled humility. She sacrificed and built a foundation of stability. She taught me that it was normal to feel fear and that sadness should not be refrained, that tears can be embraced and gladness can be attained. She showed me that her vulnerabilities could also be her strengths, and if channeled through the right way can take us to heights and lengths. My mother is my superhero. She did not need immortality to make a lasting effect. She did not need a dramatic ending and then suddenly resurrect like a superhero counterpart. Her energy flows through me and I feel her beat against my heart. In my being she lives. Right here is where she stays. She grows within my soul and lives within my DNA. She's the words that escape my mouth and the poetry on my page. Her resilience is in my bones, her strength exceeds Luke Cage. My mother is my superhero. Her legacy lives on. In my dreams, words, memories and thoughts. She is never gone. Thank you.
Great stuff, yeah. I remember first you read that one to me and I thought it was one of my favourite pieces of that one. I do think it's great, though.
Thank you.
You do, because we all can relate to that with our mothers and stuff, don't we? So mothers are superheroes in some ways, aren't they? So
Yeah, definitely.
they may not get the press Superman does and stuff like that, but yeah, I agree with that completely.
Thank you.
Okay. I know your third one, but it's obviously we've talked before, haven't we? Is something a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, so, this is basically about my culture, mixed race, so speaking about all the different types, different sides of my culture, really.
Brilliant. And what's this one called? And for everybody knows.
Okay, so this is underneath my headscarf.
Brilliant.
Underneath my headscarf is not just my hair. It's three heritages, cultures collided. Despite the contrast, they naturally came together and abided. It's my dad's quick patois. His lips moving so fast I had to learn to keep up. My mum's soft-spoken English needing her to speak up. It's the stories of my granddad and his move from a West African world to a Western one, him venturing into a new life, the culture he acquainted with gone. It's my mother's mum born into the privilege of white middle class, rebelling against society's love ideals despite the past. It's chicken rice and peas at my dad's on a Sunday, and shepherd's pie and gravy at my mum's on a Monday. It's growing up in Jamaica, the tales of his childhood, and his move from Jamaica to England as a child, his mother tongue misunderstood. It's the influence, English fire with a side of planting, my mother's memories of her outside gallivanting, and it's the long hours spent, my hair getting cane rolled and oiled, as I sat between my mum's legs as she combed my curls and coiled. And as they grew older, it was a battle of which identity to embrace, wishing for long straight hair despite my race and not quite knowing where a foot would belong. Mixed race mother, Jamaican father, British born, my mind torn. It was pondering on which ethnicity box to tick. Hesitation, Black African, Jamaican, mixed with Caucasian, but it was learning that in fact I could embrace all three, cultures that merged and contrasted and made up me. And underneath his headscarf is not just my hair, it's my ancestors and their fight for freedom that's there, but most importantly their courage, bravery and strength, and all that lives within my curls and coils, not straightness or length. These roots signify all that I am and all that I can become, my ancestry, my heritage, my dad and my mum.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Alice. That's fantastic. I really have enjoyed these three today. Brilliant. Thank you. Hang around, because I need a quick word as I was your mic. But thank you again. That's been a brilliant session today, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you. So, take care, guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye.
Spoken, mate. Spoken, mate.